After 24 hours without sleep, your brain performs at the cognitive level of someone legally intoxicated. Reaction time slows, judgment deteriorates, impulse control weakens. But here's what's more unsettling. The damage doesn't begin at 24 hours. It begins the moment you wake up. Tonight, we're tracing the quiet unraveling of the sleep-deprived brain, hour by hour, system by system, to understand what really happens when the brain is denied its reset. Because sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it changes the way your brain functions. When you wake up, your brain immediately begins accumulating a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is a metabolic byproduct of neural activity. Every time neurons fire, ATP, your brain's energy currency, is consumed. Adenosine is what remains. Think of it as cognitive exhaust. The more you think, decide, scroll, calculate, worry, the more adenosine accumulates. Under normal conditions, deep sleep clears it. But during the day, it builds. By hour 10 to 12 of wakefulness, measurable changes appear in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for executive function, planning, impulse control, long-term reasoning, emotional regulation. You may not feel exhausted, but your cognitive efficiency is already declining. Studies using functional MRI show reduced metabolic activity in the prefrontal cortex even before subjective sleepiness sets in. This is why late afternoon decisions are often worse than morning ones. You crave sugar instead of water. You respond emotionally instead of strategically. You procrastinate instead of prioritizing. Not because you lack discipline, because the neural circuits that support discipline are under metabolic strain. Sleep deprivation begins long before you label it as such. After approximately 17 hours awake, reaction time declines to levels comparable to a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05%. This is not metaphor. It is measured impairment. But reaction time is only part of the story. The deeper disruption is emotional. In 2007, researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, found that sleep deprivation increased amygdala reactivity by nearly 60%. The amygdala detects threat. It amplifies fear. It scans for danger. Under rested conditions, the prefrontal cortex regulates it. Sleep deprivation weakens that regulatory connection. The result? Emotions intensify. Neutral expressions look hostile. Minor inconveniences feel overwhelming. Anxiety rises without obvious cause. Your emotional brain becomes louder. Your rational brain becomes quieter. This imbalance explains why arguments escalate faster when you're tired. It also explains why sleep-deprived individuals are more likely to interpret ambiguous situations negatively. The brain shifts toward threat detection. And then, at approximately 20 to 24 hours, another phenomenon begins. Microsleeps. Brief, involuntary shutdowns of neural activity lasting seconds. You may appear awake. Your eyes may be open, but cortical activity temporarily collapses. The brain forces rest, even if you refuse. After 24 hours without sleep, adenosine levels are significantly elevated. The brain begins entering local sleep states, meaning certain regions shut down while others remain active. This creates fragmentation. The hippocampus, responsible for forming new memories, becomes severely impaired. Research published in Nature Neuroscience shows that after 35 hours of wakefulness, memory encoding drops by nearly 40%. You can perceive information, but your brain struggles to store it. You exist in experience, but fail to archive it. Meanwhile, the immune system weakens. Even moderate sleep restriction reduces natural killer cell activity, a critical part of immune defense. Inflammatory markers rise. Cortisol increases. Insulin sensitivity declines. Sleep deprivation does not remain confined to the brain. It becomes systemic. Around 36 to 48 hours, perceptual instability may begin. Not necessarily full hallucinations, but distortions. Peripheral movement that isn't there. Auditory misinterpretations. A sense of unreality. This occurs as the thalamus, the brain's sensory relay station, struggles to filter incoming and internally generated signals. The boundary between perception and imagination begins to thin. Beyond 48 hours, total sleep deprivation can induce symptoms resembling acute psychosis. This is not exaggeration. It has been repeatedly documented. The thalamic filter deteriorates further. The prefrontal cortex becomes metabolically suppressed. The amygdala remains hyperactive, The hippocampus struggles to encode experience coherently. The brain loses integration. Visual hallucinations may occur. Paranoia may develop. Thought patterns become disorganized. In severe cases, individuals report depersonalization, a sense of being detached from oneself. This is what prolonged wakefulness does. It destabilizes the neural networks that construct conscious reality. Sleep is not passive. It is what maintains coherence. Without it, cognition fragments. Total sleep deprivation is dramatic, but chronic restriction is more common and potentially more dangerous. A landmark study from the University of Pennsylvania found that individuals restricted to 6 hours of sleep per night for 2 weeks performed cognitively as poorly as those who had gone 48 hours without sleep. What made the finding more concerning? Participants believed they were functioning adequately. Subjective alertness does not reliably reflect objective impairment. The brain adapts to feeling tired, but performance continues to decline. And beneath cognition, something else is happening. The glymphatic system, the brain's waste clearance network, operates primarily during deep sleep. It removes metabolic waste, including beta amyloid. Without sufficient deep sleep, clearance efficiency drops. Over years, this accumulation may contribute to neurodegenerative risk. Sleep deprivation is not just about fatigue, it is about maintenance. Every night of insufficient sleep is a night the brain remains partially unserviced. The brain is remarkably resilient. One full recovery night can restore much of the acute cognitive decline caused by short-term deprivation. Slow-wave sleep rebounds, REM rebounds. The glymphatic system activates intensely, but recovery is not infinite. Repeated cycles of restriction create cumulative strain. Neural efficiency declines subtly. Emotional regulation weakens chronically. Metabolic disruption compounds. The brain can recover, but it prefers not to fight the same battle every week. Your brain does not demand perfection. It asks for consistency. Darkness, stillness, time. Sleep is not inactivity. It is neural recalibration, emotional stabilization, metabolic restoration, memory consolidation. Without it, the architecture of the mind begins to loosen, not dramatically, quietly, hour by hour. So tonight, before you trade another hour for stimulation, remember what that hour costs. Sleep is not a luxury. It is infrastructure. Stay curious. Sleep well.